All right, so the headspace here is, this is the headspace. This is how both parties kind of think about the relationship, what they both think about going into the relationship. All right, okay, the other person's got the Five of Wands. That's okay. All right. Now these two here, this indicates the body, how both of you guys represent yourselves in this relationship, how you guys see each other, okay? And the bottom here is the spiritual plane. This is something I like to kind of say, but it really just gives us information or gives us background regarding why everyone is representing themselves the way they represent themselves, as well as thinking the way they think here, okay? Now the card that you guys have that brought you guys together is the Eight of Pentacles. And crossing that is the Page of Pentacles. Okay, the challenge. And your underlying energy. Wow. Okay. It is the Eight of Cups. Alright. Underneath that is the Three of Wands. We're going to pull this, this oracle at the very end. So you're going to go ahead and just jump straight into this reading right here. Okay. So, family. Already, you know how I read, right? There's one side that I dedicate to you guys, and that side is the one with the Eight of Wands on it, right? This side here, all right? But feel free to go on to the other side if if that resonates with you the most. Now, if this is you, Taurus, or this could be the other person, right? You're coming into this relationship thinking of the Eight of Cups, or Eight of Wands rather, going into this reading. All right, the underlying energy is the Eight of Cups, which does show that there is some sort of dissatisfaction in this relationship, emotional draining. I don't think anybody's walking away. That doesn't really talk about physically anything happening, but there's something emotional that's no longer showing that it's sufficed by this relationship. If that makes sense, like this relationship and how it's going, it has to find a new direction because there's no more that you can give to it. That's pretty much what the Eight of Cups means. Now, considering that this is how someone's thinking of the relationship, this can talk about things moving very fast. There's things moving in a very slow, flowing pace, like very speedy, swift. Can indicate that this person may be feeling overwhelmed, though, right? Because things are happening so fast, happening so quickly, and you're not given time to really catch up and figure out if this is something that you want, so if this is something that you're cool with. You're kind of just going with the flow. It feels like, if this is you. But the Eight of Wands does talk about things moving very fast. It does talk about things moving very quickly, and quickly more than we can, really absorb everything. It's just kind of happening so fast that we kind of roll with the punches. Now, the other person here has got the Five of Wands. So this talks about this relationship, when they think about it, brings up a lot of conflict, either internal conflict, or they feel like every time they go in this relationship, there is some sort of argument, there is some sort of competition, or some sort of back and forth. They don't feel like there's a lot of this stuff that's even. But I do think that they also see this relationship as this is a challenge, this is a this is a challenge. This isn't like life or death. This isn't going to make or break the relationship. It's just, this is difficult for both of you guys, or at least difficult for this individual. Now, how this person is presenting themselves is the King of Wands. So this could be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, but this could also indicate that this person is just very authentic with themselves. They'll do what they want to do when they want to do it. They're not going to do anything that doesn't make them happy in the moment. A lot of the times, though, this person, it can indicate that they're very active, they're very social, they're very outgoing. But they have emperor qualities, I feel. Not in the sense of like they're super stubborn and they don't really like to, compromise, which I kind of feel like that is too, because it does restrict them from being the freest that they can be. Because I feel like this person's, the way this person is, it's very freeing. They're very, do as they please sort of energy. This is obviously the King of Wands. He doesn't have any rules, right, on him. So the King of Wands to me does talk about someone that is also showing their confidence, that they feel very confident in themselves, or they're putting on a front. Because if they're looking at the relationship, or they're thinking of the relationship as a Five of Wands, then they may not, they may be showing off a confident part of themselves, but not actually really feeling that way. You know what I'm saying? But the King of Wands, doesn't, I think they do have serious, they do have real confidence in themselves, if not in their situation, in themselves, in their ability to execute certain things. They're also go-getters with the King of Wands, so I do feel like whatever they want, they're going to go get. They're not going to, sit around and just wish and dream. They'll just go ahead and make that happen. You know what I mean? So I do feel like this person is, has a ruthless quality to them. But how you're presenting yourself, Taurus, with the other person, depending on how you resonate with this reading here, is the Two of Swords. Now, Two of Swords is interesting. How you present that in your like how people see you, and how you're presenting yourself right now is that you're not making you're not making any decisions at all right now. You're actually just trying to keep the balance. That's what it looks like. You're not, and I feel like for a lot of you guys, there may be a decision that you guys have to make, especially when it comes to this relationship. But I feel like at the same time, I feel like you guys are just kind of stuck, kind of like I feel like you guys are stuck doing two things, or stuck in a situation where you can't really express yourself because both, because maybe you have two truths here that resonate with you and you don't know which one to choose. You don't know which one has the most value. But the thing is that, with the Two of Swords, like I always say, right? This is about a decision that's already pretty much made up. It's about the execution of that decision. And I feel like there is something that you already know. There is a truth that you already know. You're just keeping the balance and keeping yourself from saying the truth, because obviously it's a difficult truth to walk, right? It's a different truth to live and to, walk along. But I feel like, with the Two of Swords coming up here like this, I feel like for a lot of you guys, you honestly know what your truth is. But the thing that's stopping you from really making that clear-cut decision is by not seeing the situation for how it truly is. You're closed off. Right? So, it's very interesting because, what brought you here, the situation that, the card that talks about like where all of this stuff is coming from, where you are in the body, it's like how you guys are presenting yourselves and the way you guys think is the Sun. So you guys have clarity here. Some of you guys may need clarity in order for things to, move forward, but there's no obstruction here. It's a choice at this point. Because the Two of Swords is like it's crossing these two truths across themselves, not making a decision, and they can't really make a clear decision because they have a blindfold over their eyes. I'll show you again. You guys are stuck. It's not really stuck energy. You guys, I don't see you guys stuck. It's just the refusal to move, a refusal to make a decision right now, because, like I said, because it's difficult, because this is about committing to something too. Because what is the challenge? The Page of Pentacles. Y'all have to commit to something, and this is about commitment in some sort of way. You guys are not really sure if y'all want to commit at this moment. Some of you guys, I think that's the hardest decision. Maybe you guys don't want it, but I feel like at the same time you guys are trying to keep the balance, because you may need a little bit more information before making a decision, but you're not seeing the situation. You're not seeing it. It's almost like you guys just feel like everything's just moving very fast and out of your control, and you just kind of have to sit there and like ride the wave, and you don't have to. This is not necessarily something that, this is your relationship too. You don't have to just go by what somebody else is saying. And I think this person may be very, I think they obviously see that there's two different types of mindsets, two different types of individuals. And instead of working together, he's trying to manhandle it. Or he or she is King of Wands. Now, guys, remember, please, kings and queens, when they come up, that doesn't mean that there's a specific sex that it's dedicated to. It could be anybody, okay? But the King of Wands looks like they're just, they're doing what they want to do. They're being authentic to who they are. They're not going to, they're not compromising, because they're not, they don't, I kind of feel like they're not really challenged in that regard. They're not really being asked to, so they're not going to. But they're being themselves in the moment. I'm not saying that this person's being bad or this person's not working with you at all. I just feel like this person here is doing what they know best, doing what they feel is best for them. Now, the reason why they're coming up as the King of Wands and thinking and has in their mind plane the Five of Wands is the Four of Wands. So it's interesting. The reason why they think the way they, obviously the reason why they think about, all this conflict and the changes and the challenges that they're facing might have to do with getting to a place of stability. Because the four of wands just talk about, a place where you can expand. It's a higher place of commitment. It's reaching a place of not just stability but achievement as well. Like you've achieved something that honestly is that makes you happy. That shows that what you've been doing is going in the right direction. And something tells me that that's their motivation to get to a place where they can feel like they're in a stable relationship. That they're feeling like they're in a stable place with you. But to give your relationship a chance, working on it that's exactly what you guys have been doing. You guys have been working. That's the Eight of Pentacles. That's what brought you two together. Work on your partnership. That's what the message is. And you guys have been working on it. The Eight of Pentacles shows that. But I feel like there may need to be attention to detail because I think there's just a lot of things just kind of going by and flying by. And instead of looking at the details, things are just kind of going through, and not really getting properly approved, if that makes sense. Because, it throws me because it's Two of Swords. It's like, why is this person not making a decision? Why is this person just trying to keep the balance? And I feel like it's just because it's hitting them so fast that they don't feel like they can make the decision that they want to make right now. I'm going to go ahead and actually clarify this. Why is the Two of... too many. Why is the Two of Swords coming up in this person's present on their body? Why are people able to see this person and see the Two of Swords? Or the two? Yeah, you guys are waiting on something. Almost like you guys are waiting for an opportunity for things to slow down so you guys can act. That could be it. Maybe you're just kind of waiting for things to just take a second to stop so you guys can do what you want to do, to make the decision or make the choice that you've been wanting to make. This could be in regards to both of you guys in the sense of like, the King of Wands doing what they're doing, just being themselves, and they're working the hardest that they can, or they're just doing what they feel is best for them, and you're on the side right here with the Two of Swords, like waiting for some sort of response. Waiting for something to be freed up, if that makes sense. An opportunity to share something, an opportunity to expand some sort of offer. That's interesting, family. Let's go ahead and take a look at your Messenger Oracle card. Heed the messengers. And this is definitely talking about not ignoring the signs. If you are seeing the signs, don't ignore them. Alright, because I think there's some things that are definitely popping up, but because you're holding, because you're doing this, keeping the balance, not really looking at the situation to help you make the decision that you need to make for yourself, you're not able to see the signs. You're not able to see the situation. I would say, if it was a different situation, it'd be like, okay, maybe you guys are just, holding off because you're trying to see something from a different perspective. If it was the Hangman coming up, I would say that. But that's not, this is not the Hangman. This is the Two of Swords. You know your truth. You know what you know what you want. I think you honestly know what your decision is. It's about the execution. You're waiting for an opportunity to execute. You're waiting for the opportunity to go. Because to do something, because I feel like this, I don't think this is the other person here either. I think maybe this person is doing their own thing and doing what they want to do, but I think almost like you're waiting for something to happen so that way you can offer something else. Or that way you can present something else, present another option. Because right now, everything's going, and you're the only one stopped. You're the only one stopped. You're the only one not doing anything. You're the only one holding up the swords. Again, it could be the other person, someone that's not going, someone that's just staying still and waiting for an opportunity. Like they know something, but they're just going to wait for the opportunity to present itself before they do what they have been waiting to do in the first place. So whatever this Eight of Cups is, which does talk about emotional drainage, which does talk about leaving a situation that does not, resonate with who you are, resonate with how you feel, how you want to feel, and going off and finding what you want, right? This may be a situation where, this hasn't been what you've been wanting in the first place, and you're letting it go. You're letting it run its course until it hits the fan. All right, or it's until things slow down so you can be able to offer what you want to offer. But the messages is like, don't ignore the signs. Don't ignore, the synchronicities that you're seeing. See? It's easy to ignore the messengers and the signs they show you, especially when they bring a message you do not wish to hear. But now is not the time to ignore the messengers. Do not let your fear of change or discomfort silence their words. It is time for you to stop procrastinating, to see and to hear the truth, and do what is necessary. Heed the message, for the wisdom they offer is born of your own intuition and need. Yeah, man. That's exactly what it looks like. Somebody is just not moving. Someone is not doing anything. Someone's purposely ignoring the signs, even though they know what to do. They know what to expect. The Three of Wands does indicate that. You know what to expect. Somebody here knows what to expect. Either it's you or the other person. They know. But it's about acting upon it and working on it rather than just trying to ignore it and act like nothing's happening. Because acting like nothing's happening is not going to actually sort the problem. And I think this person is aware of that. I think this person sees this Four of Wands as a challenge, and there's turmoil because there's somebody here that's just ignoring the signs, ignoring the situation because they don't want to see what's going on. They don't want to work on it. Maybe they're just tired. Maybe they're emotionally done. Maybe they're not happy. But that's the part, that's the thing, that's the most important thing to communicate. Why are you upset? Or why are you done with it? It's almost like you just waiting to get burnt out so so eventually you have nothing else to do but to speak your truth. And I feel like the situation is saying, say that stuff before you get there. Don't pop off. Be careful not to pop off. Don't get don't get ragey. Be careful not to get ragey because it's not going to really solve the problem. If things don't work out in the way that you want to, voice those opinions. Don't wait till things fall apart. It's like, because the sun shows the path to potential happiness, but I feel like it also can show you the path to destruction too. And I don't see any bad cards in this reading. I don't see any. But I feel like the sun is like, the way to happiness. It's not about, this doesn't automatically mean you're in a good place or that you're in a happy place. It means that you know what path you need to take. You know what actions need to be done in order to get to that place. That's why you can be content. That's why you can be happy, because you know exactly what needs to be done. And I feel like you know exactly what needs to be done. You or the other person knows exactly what needs to be done in order to make this relationship work. In order for there to be balance in this relationship, in order for there to be a healthy foundation. But it starts by accepting the signs and speaking your truth from what you know. Because honestly, ignoring is not going to work.